Well, hello and welcome to Loving the Journey podcast. I'm Donna Cundy. Today I'm joined with Valérie Demont. Very excited to have you here with us, Valérie. We're going to be talking about your journey behind the microphone, who you've become along the way. But before we dive in, a little bit about Valérie. She is an author. She is a podcaster, and she is the author of Being the New Doing, a conscious business mentor and an energy healer for spiritually aligned entrepreneurs. She helps founders shift from overdoing to aligned, presence-led success through the fluid approach, a future-shaped way of creating freedom, inner governance, and sustainable growth. And I'm sure we'd love to hear more about that. Her work guides entrepreneurs to reconnect with their complete self, trust their intuition, and build businesses that breathe within them. And I know that we're definitely in the right place with you as our guest today, Valérie. So thank you and welcome.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, Donna.
All the way
And
from Switzerland, yeah?
yes, absolutely. So from time to time, the first word wants to come out in French, But yes. Now I'm fully here. Please let my English be be great, and I think we will enjoy this moment together.
Well, I'll tell you what, at the very end of every of our one of our episodes, there is that one listener who is here for you. And so whatever language you feel led to speak that in is the one that they're going to want to hear it in. So I say however it comes out, and we'll get it translated along the way in the show notes, and we're going to have a good time.
Yes, no, for sure. But I'm here to speak English, so yes, I'm fully
Okay.
here, fully for you, and English will be here with me as well.
Awesome. Well, before we had pushed the record button, you and I were chatting a little bit about your journey behind the microphone, how it started way back when. You said 2018. You've done several podcasts on your own, both interviewing and not interviewing, and all the work before AI was there to lend a helping hand. Why did you start podcasting? What was your impetus? What was
Yes.
the
Oh,
call, the
so
push?
yeah, the push. So um, I wanted to find a way to be closer to my audience,
Mm.
and I think that the closest way to be near them or is near the ears. So and I think I at that time I really have the feeling that yes, people who listen to podcasts listen to you in very private moments. So I love that privileges connection. And I love that kind of relationship. And at that time, I've been blogging for something like 10 years. And, a lot of people started to blog and so on. And I wanted to differentiate myself. And there is something with the voice. And I knew at that time that I have to speak more, to speak my voice, my truth, and take my place, and with the right posture. And at the same time, my clients, of course, needed to raise their voice as well. They were leaders, entrepreneurs, even CEO, and they were taught that, because they were Swiss, and Swiss people are very discreet, and we have the secret culture around bank and so on. So they weren't used to show up and say what they want to say. So I struggle to find a way to help them to dig into themselves and take their voice. So podcast was probably a way to open a path for them and showing the example.
I love that. And you've done multilingual podcasts as well. You said you had one in French and
Yes, I
were
have one in French for 6 years now. 7 years, 8 years, 8 years now. My God. Okay, so it seems that maths aren't in the place today, and I have one in English as well, but it's quite new, 1 year, and I'm not sure the strategy about this English one.
mm,
On Substack for my English content and network, and I love the people over there, and so I started to put some video content there, and then I said, okay, my God, I should use the RSS to diffuse it to YouTube and Apple and so on, and we'll see. So it's more like a step by step or an ongoing strategy.
yeah. Are you noticing the same kind of people showing up for English versus French? Like, is the audience the same, or are they different locations, different?
It's more for the English. It's more located in USA
Mm,
and a little bit in India and UK. For the French, it's really Switzerland and Canada.
okay.
But really, really, it's the audience is in Canada is very small, something like less than 5%, I think.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Because I know there's a lot of podcasters who are bilingual and wonder about that. I've had questions about that. How do I grow a podcast in both the languages?
But I have the same questions because when I received, because I channel I don't know if I channel
Yeah, yeah.
stuff from my guides, and they said at what point, oh, you have to open worldwide and develop your audience worldwide. And I was like, okay, no, I'm not gonna do something in two language. And do I just translate the French, or do I have special content? What's the strategy and so on? And it really bored me to think about that, because I wanted at that point to think less and be less strategic and be more organic and spontaneous.
Mm, yeah.
So yes, probably I don't have the best strategy, because it's I want to have fun. I want it to be easy and in the flow, so in a kind of flow. So yes, it's more
Hmm.
spontaneous and less strategic. And we'll see.
Okay. So you've been podcasting for 8 years now, and there's an evolution as we get behind the microphone. As we start to speak our truth into this world, we become something new. What did you notice about yourself as you had started this journey? Who have you become as you
It's almost like now I almost, don't give a shit about what I am gonna say. Okay, I try to structure my mind and my
Yeah, yeah.
script and to have an outline, because otherwise, yeah, it's hard for me and to follow me. But I really used to have my outlines, getting to know the people that I'm gonna interview, ask different questions and not the same that they always have the same questions. So I try to be really different and so on. And then I realized, okay, I want an interview more like sharing a coffee with a
Yeah, yeah.
friend.
Mhm.
And when I say that, some CEO at one point said, okay, let's start to be friends and then we'll see. So it was really great to have this access to these people. It gave me a real power or confidence.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I didn't know at that time that, oh, I can be friend with those guys. It was men mainly. So yeah. And today, I almost don't do interview anymore.
Mm.
And it's more like, I have something to say. Do I have enough time right now? And let's do it,
So
And
your
yes,
podcast evolved starting with the interviews, and then and now you don't do a whole lot of interviews because of do you go back a lot with your book? So we do a lot with where in the podcast profit system that the podcast becomes the book, the book becomes the podcast. You have a book. How is that? Was that sparked from your podcast, or did that come from a different space within you?
I
That being
should.
is
I probably should, use my podcast to promote the book, or the podcast become the book. What I want to do now with because the English will be out in on the 30th of March, what I want
oh
to do is something like, you know, embody the process, because I really talk about being is the new doing.
yeah,
I
yeah,
give the means to be confident and steady and so on. But then you have to live and to do from that place, new place. And so probably that the podcast can become the voice of this embodiment. But I don't know now. We'll see in 1 month.
yeah, yeah.
And
Your book is
yes,
in French right now. Is it French or
in
English?
French and in English. So in French, it's être est le nouveau faire, which is the exact translation of being is the new doing. So I started writing in French because it was easier, and then I have
Mm.
it translated. I translated by myself and then have it reading and so on.
Yeah, so a listener who would want to look for your book, beingisthenewdoing.com is the title of the book, and also your
Yes,
website. And
yes.
they whether they speak French as the first language or English as the first language, they can still get access to.
Yes, and then if they want to pre-order it or order it, they click the button and then they are redirected on
Oh,
Amazon, and
nice.
then they will see the French, the English, the
Yeah, yeah.
hardcover, all the stuff, the
Yeah, yeah.
Kindle one and so on. Yeah.
So you had the call to get behind the microphone to meet other business owners. Was this a business move for you, do you think? Or
Um, at at the very beginning, no, because I just wanted to meet those people,
yeah, yeah.
almost they were almost thought leaders, and I wanted to access them to find, my purpose is to find new way of doing business to change the world, more or less.
That's my people. I love
Yeah,
it.
me too. Me too. And I wanted to have access to those people, to know, to be, behind the scene, and to
Yeah.
to be able to feel what they are living and how they work and how they do things. And then it gave me some new clients, to have them to be their authentic self, to manage their company, and to be really in their voice, the voice aligned with heart, with body, with a full presence, and find what they have to share. So, and it seemed that, yes, it gave me many kinds of clients, that kind of clients. And the other part was, um, some of my clients wanted to make videos and interviews and so on. And I was the one, receiving or digging into the truth of the one who is interviewed, just to be sure we dig into the right truth,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
find their voice. And it seems that I have a talent to do that, but I don't know how I do it. I just talk with them, and at one point I have goosebumps, and I
Oh,
know that we are here, and please say that.
mm,
And the thing is that we recorded all that to make the video. So in the rush, we had these special moments, and so it was very natural, spontaneous, and very authentic. And yes, that was the kind of job that I received from the podcast.
Mhm. Yeah, so you talked about having fun behind the microphone and these making these connections and the goosebumps, but was there a time when you thought about, "Oh gosh, this isn't going the way I want it to go," or this is this we're going down into the belly of the beast, as they say on the hero's journey. Was there that time for you?
No, I had never, I had two issues, but it was not, yes, I always met the right people.
That's awesome.
Uh, I had three issues. So I really met those people in presence. So I take my car, my microphone, my recorder, everything. And the first time I had no more batteries, I forgot to check it. So I did the whole interview with a former hockey player, very famous, beautiful man, and so on. So I was a little bit shaky.
Yeah, yeah.
And then at the end of the hour with him, I realized that nothing was recorded. Yes, it was such a shame. So it was, and then he said, "Okay, let's meet again. Let's." Yes, we had some drinks, a dinner, and so on. And that I was, okay, no, it's going too far, and no, I
Mm,
don't want to record. So and the so it and another one was there was renovation issues in the building, and so nothing was, even with the post prod, I cannot do anything. It wasn't, hearable, or we couldn't hear his voice.
mm,
And the
mhm.
thing is that during the whole interview, I really struggled to focus, to be with him because of the noise. And at one point, he was very, not really humble. It was an interview about the 4-day week. And he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
one of the first to do it here in Switzerland. And he'd been interviewed everywhere,
Mhm.
TV shows, newspapers. So I think his ego was not aligned with what I wanted to share. And he was almost like, you know, I'm here and you, Valerie, you're just doing some podcast. And, he didn't even know who I am. So, and what I was doing and so on. And at one point, say, okay, sorry, it's not possible to do anything with this record. Oh, so
Isn't that interesting how he, in hindsight, wasn't the best fit for you and your podcast, and the energy that showed up for that turned his volume down. That's awesome.
absolutely, absolutely. And then, I realized that I wanted to have him because he began to be famous, and
Mm.
that will raise my number. And it's not me. It's not, you know, I'm not chasing that. So it was really not aligned at all.
Yeah, that's a really powerful statement right there because, as we think about the hero's journey, loving the journey in the podcasting space, it's who we're becoming along the way. And that sounds like a great awareness that you had just from that one interview.
Yeah.
And I always like to say you either get brushed with a feather or hit by the 2x4. That seems like that might have been a really big wake up call to say, hey, who are you supposed to be here with? What are you supposed to be doing?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
How did that change your podcasting moving forward?
Then, yes, I realized that I think it was the last guy that I interviewed. Then maybe I had three. It was a shift for sure. Then after him, I think I had three new interview, and that's all. And then I ended
Really?
it.
That was
Yes,
wow.
and because at one point I don't know, but I don't know why it was. guys, and at one point they said, okay, I want you to cut this part and to do that and so on. I said, no, no, no. Do you do, do you understand what a podcast is? So you're supposed to be authentic, fully
Yeah, yeah.
you, vulnerable or whatever, and then you want to cut the best part because you are showing like you're
Humanness.
human. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So yes, I wanted to, at that point, I wanted to stop. And then because my work wasn't fully respected, and
Mm,
at that time, I was still really doing a lot of post production, still not using AI for the post prod, and so it took me something like contact the guy, made the appointment, go and visit him, record, drink a coffee, do some
mm-hmm.
small talks, come back, do the post prod, share on social media. So
It's
one
quite a
full day,
process.
one full
Yeah.
day. Yeah. So it
So
was
this was
really,
a 2023 when this happened. This was the ending.
um, yes, 2022.
Mm.
Yes.
You did recording all through COVID. Did you pause?
COVID was such
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's on yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, no, I did some recording and I met so beautiful people during that time
Yeah.
because they had the time to share really you know yes, the way they had time to rethink the way they were doing
Mm.
business, the
Mm-hmm.
governance of their company and so on. So they were very proud to share what they had discovered at that time. And it was really great conversation,
Mm.
especially around, a new way of, yes, organize themselves. Yes,
Yeah,
remote
yeah.
people,
Mm-hmm.
trust them. And then the new way of, yeah, a new governance inside, less vertical, more horizontal.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it was very, yes, very, very great to meet them at that moment.
Mm. You talked about I think you might have used the word respect with because you interviewed all men or just mostly men, um, and
Mostly men, but women as well. And
yeah,
yes, and of course there was a difference. Yes.
yeah. Was it? Do you think it was? How much? Where's the question I want to ask? How much of your energy being with the being is the new doing mentality did you bring into the podcast? Was that where the connection was not as strong, or do you think it was because you were a business coach as a female in this space talking to CEOs? How do you think that was playing out? Do you think it?
Yes, I tried to almost show up at that time, really with those men CEO. I really tried to show up more steady, perfect,
Mm,
mm, very prepared, very professional, and yes, yes, something like that. And but it was not me because I lost doing that. I lost my voice, and following the script, I lost my voice as well and my posture because it at the end it should be something like sharing a coffee,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's almost once we were warmed up that yes,
Hmm.
the secret showed up, and it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
almost the end of the interview. So yes, it was really hard at that point.
Do you remember during this time period between 28 and 2023 when you realized, was there like this one thing that happened where you're like, I need to be more authentic, it's going to be a conversation. It's not going to be all scripted. I don't need to show up this certain way. Like, do you remember that actual time when that flipped for you? Or was it more gradual?
It was more gradual at one point. After this guy and then the noise in the building,
Mhm.
I realized that I am the one who gave them visibility,
Yeah, yeah.
and I am the one in power, but I don't want to fight with them or to argue or justify that. If they don't understand, they are not the right one for me.
Mm.
So I wanted, and it was the same. Actually, that's nice. Great question. It made me realize at that time that it was the same with my clients. At one point, I didn't want to work anymore with the one who even didn't know after 6 months that I have a child and that I am married, because they never heard that at 6 o'clock I have to leave you because I have to make dinner for my family. And say,
Mhm.
oh, really? You have a family? No, oh my God, no, I don't have it anymore. But look at my hand, or ask some questions, or we can have some small talk. I'm not just your employee, and furthermore, I was not the employee. I was a consultant. So
Right.
yeah, what the fuck? Shit, sorry.
That's okay. It's
No, I'm sorry.
it's
I don't know. It's part of me. It's the
Yeah, yeah.
first time that I say those words in English. Because in French it's very fluent, but in English I never know how to do it. But it just appeared like that. So yeah.
No, that's perfect. Because it does, I I have a similar background. I spent time in the United States military in a leadership position and then transitioned as a business coach. And it is, I think, sometimes difficult to have that authenticity, have the family, and then still show up as the professional.
Yes.
And it's, if a guy shows up all hardcore, they're hardcore, and if a woman shows up like that, she's a bitch. And you gotta be, you know how do
Yes.
you how do you do that? And so it was, I like that. I like, it sounds like, that you had a measurement that said, if you don't notice that I'm a human, maybe this is time to move on.
Yes. Yes. And at one point, it was really in my body. So either my belly or my stomach was
Mm-hmm.
contracted, or I was getting angry, or what else? Oh yes, the smelling of people or in the room. At
Ah,
one point, it smells bad,
yeah.
and I can't bear it anymore. And then I realized, oh, that smell bad, it means that it's not for me. It's almost like you say, I can't feel it anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
those kinds of words, I can't feel it, I can't bear it, it smells bad, or stuff like that, is a signal. And finally I realized that that kind of signal are signals as well. Same like, oh, you are not respectful of who I am.
Yeah. I love the permission that you're speaking into this time that we're having together, to be yourself, to notice when things are not in alignment, to notice when things are in alignment, when you get the goosebumps, you're going in the
Yes.
right direction. But if it smells bad and feels bad, and then there's probably, to the podcaster who's listening to my voice right now, there's probably a pivot that needs to happen. There's some kind of something is not in alignment. And so think about what makes you feel good. You said you podcast, Valerie, because it was fun. You had a good time, and podcasting can be fun. And if it has gotten to a point where it's not, probably something needs to change.
Yes, and I met wonderful people, and at the end of the recording, they said, "Oh, it's so good to be with you," and it made my day at that point,
Yeah.
and it was worth the 1 day work around meeting those people and doing all the post production work. But yes, it was really great. Sometimes, no,
Yeah.
most part of the time, because yes,
Yeah.
as I said, I met really, really great people and very human, and of course, they were willing. They love my positioning at that time, so
Yeah.
that's why they accepted the interview.
And I love that you are okay to pause your podcast sometimes,
Yes,
and then think, well, I'll just start it again. That's okay to do a pause in there. There's permission to do that. There's You can go in another direction, like you're saying you started with interviews and now you don't do
yes,
interviews, and that's okay. Uh, I think I keep going back to your book. Being is the new doing. It's the being. We are creatures who keep on becoming, and as we become the next iteration of ourselves, it's okay. It's okay to
yes. And
have
to
that pivot.
change, and to pivot your podcast, because otherwise it's what a prison. And no,
Mhm.
you don't launch a podcast and do some podcasting to be in another prison. So you do it because you want to enjoy, to meet people, you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
stuff to share, and so on. So yes, yes.
So as we start to wrap things up, I do always believe that there is that one podcaster who has shown up, who has listened this far, because there's something special, Valerie, that they are waiting to hear from you. What is it that you want to tell that podcaster?
Okay, at that point of what we have shared, I think that I want you all, or you who feel the cold, and if you feel that you've reached the end with your podcast now, but not the end of the story, but the end of this way of doing your podcast, you can pivot and feel free to listen, to your body. Find the alignment, this serene place inside you, and feel what feels right and what excites you again. And because we can feel it if you like or don't like what you are doing.
Mm.
And I think there is really people who listen to you makes you a gift, a precious gift. They give you time. It's the most precious currency we have today. So respect them as well by respecting yourself and be fully aligned. You want to stop, you need a break. Take a break. That's human. You need to pivot. You want to have guests, do some guests. You want 5 minutes a week sharing, do it. Change the frequency. Do what you want. You're free. It's your podcast. So just go into yourself, listen to your heart, your intuition, your inner governance, and make the right choice from this place. And don't compare yourself. No, yes, don't, no, please don't compare yourself, because
Hey there, it's Donna. Here's something we're thinking about. What if the reason your ideal clients are not finding you has nothing to do with your expertise and everything to do with 5 specific gaps in your online presence that you can't see yet? The Influence Scorecard was designed to show you exactly where those gaps are and what to do about them. We will review your podcast, your website, or your social media presence using the 5 tenets of influence: be seen, be heard, be easy to follow, be the solution, and be paid with purpose. And we're going to deliver a personalized review to your inbox within 48 hours. Every scorecard gets human eyes on it before it reaches you, and it's completely free. Click the link on the screen or go to 365businessmaker.com/scorecard to get started today.